Detroit Den 313. We are back. Steve and Will talking that Detroit Lions football. You know what to do. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, tell the people what we're talking.
At the end of every school year, sometimes halfway through the year, you got to get some grades. You got to get them report cards sent home. Today, we're going to give a Detroit Lions report card on these offseason moves. I don't want to say signings. We're going to talk trades. We're going to talk it all. I personally think free agency is done. The only thing I think we're going to really do is maybe a trade. I don't know, but I think with it when it comes to just signing players, I think we're pretty much tapped out. How do you feel about that?
I have no idea, man, to be honest. You still got guys like Stephon Gilmore and Mike Williams out there. Um, I can't say we're done. I'd love to see us entertain either one of those guys, but who knows? I know we brought in the kid that from Detroit. I saw it on a visit, so it's not like we don't still have people visiting. I know Brad Holmes and Chris Spillman in the camp are always looking and searching for guys. So I'd love to see maybe one or two more deals, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I could be wrong. Just a gut feeling. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. It's only middle of March. A lot of time going on between here and the draft, and then the draft, and then going into the off season. We got plenty of time, but I just think we're done. But I could be wrong. There's a good chance I am. But let's get into first and foremost. We've already talked about it a little bit. We're just going to go player by player in order. Graham Glasgow. I know how I feel about him. My MVP of the team last year, Swiss Army knife on the offensive line, backup center, played left guard, played right guard. He played every position for us pretty much last year besides tackle. So how do you feel about Graham?
I feel like MVP might be a stretch, but
Well, I mean, it's easy to hand out MVP to Jared Goff and Jameer Gibbs, guys who touch the ball every time, but you got to respect those big boys in the trenches.
definitely respect the big boys in the trenches. I think he was just a key player for us. We talked about it on here. I said it. I'd rather have Glasgow than Jonah. Brad listened to me for once and did the right thing. I'm glad. I'm tremendously glad. That Graham is back, and I think he'll match well with Zach Zenner in the third round.
The little inside information. Yeah, I like Graham. We couldn't afford to lose both guards. We'd kind of be in a pickle right now if we didn't have Graham. I think everybody on the face of the earth knew that Jonah Jackson was gone. So we kept one guard, kind of opened the door for maybe a free agent signing, maybe something in the draft. I don't know, but I think that's got to get addressed. So I give that a solid signing. I like it. It's not sexy, but it was just needed.
Shoot, I think it's sexy.
How sexy? Sexier than me?
Yeah, I mean you can't play center and guard, so
You
I
don't
think
know
they
what I
got you
can
just
do.
by a little bit. Just by a little bit.
Buddy, I got a quick release. I'll just tell you that. All right. Might be
I know.
fast.
Wifey told me you did.
Next, Detroit Lions went out and signed Marcus Davenport from the Minnesota Vikings. Also played with the New Orleans Saints. How do you feel about him?
Hey, I'm gonna get ahead of this man and just be honest. I like it even if he's trash because I like the risk reward factor. We got him for next to nothing when you're talking about getting a past first round draft pick on your team with a tremendous upside. So I love the signing. I love swinging for the fences without actually having to pay to swing for the fences, and I think we could see something special out of him. And if he just ends up being a contributor, it's not like we broke the bank for him. So I like it. How do you feel?
No, low risk, high reward. If he pans out, if he goes back to that year he had 9 sacks and was healthy and produced, it's a home run. For pennies on the dollar, $6.5 million in the NFL is nothing. It's a lot of money to you and me and a lot of other people, but $6.5 billion isn't breaking the bank. It's a 1 year deal. If he stays healthy, listen, my only question is if he stays healthy and if he produces. I like his mentality. I sat down today. I listened to his press conference. Very well spoken. Answered all of the questions. I think he could end up being a fan favorite. Hear me out. When I was listening to his press conference, one of the reporters in the crowd asked him, how would you describe your pass rush style? Do you know what he said, William?
I vaguely remember what he said, but
Violence. My
yeah,
pass rush style is violence. Does that not fit this team?
it does fit the team in. But I felt the opposite. I felt like he was a hot mess on that podium.
He
A
might be
couple
nervous. Answer. Maybe he's not a crowd guy. I think he did all right.
a couple questions. He was like, How
Well,
do I feel about Dan Campbell? Uh, uh, I don't know. I don't know.
listen, some of our Detroit media isn't exactly like Harvard scholars. Okay, let's give this guy a break.
I get it, man. He just didn't wow me at the podium when we'll talk about him moving forward. But some of the other guys, man, when they get at that podium and they ask him some of those questions, man, the conviction that they say their answers giving me a little chill sometimes. I didn't get that from him. Not to say that he's not going to be a beast though.
Yeah, I just like his answer on that one particular question. My pass rush style is violence. That's what we're all about on this defensive line. That's what we want this Lions defense to be. We want it to be scary. We want those opposing teams on Saturday nights when they're in their hotel room checking underneath their bed, making sure that there's not a monster in a Detroit Lions uniform under there.
Yeah, it just worried me that he followed it up with uh he didn't necessarily want to keep it like that though. He wanted to learn some new things and maybe move in a different direction. So I just don't know. I don't know where his head is. I didn't leave that interview feeling like I even knew who the heck we got on our team. But we're not paying them to give speeches. We're not paying them to woo us, at the microphone. We're paying them to rush the passer and play defensive end and edge rusher. So, hey, I could care less, honestly. It's always nice when you get that little icing on the cake. You get a guy that's full of personality and that kind of wows you at the podium as well and gets you all excited. But hey, as long as he plays good football, I could care less.
That's all that matters. Yeah, I don't care if he gets up at the podium and he's playing checkers by himself. I don't care. Put the
Yeah.
pads on, get after the quarterback, make some plays.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't care how you do in press conferences, but I did like that one answer. Next, Detroit Lions trade, not exactly a free agency signing, but we're just talking additions to the team. So he was traded for Carlton Davis, cornerback, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know a lot of people are kind of giving this one a little heat as well. He's kind of catching some heat along with Marcus Davenport of, is he a number one corner? Is he not a number one corner?
Steve, here's the bottom line, and people they tickle me sometimes.
Take me.
They tickle me sometimes with some of the things that they say, um, and the basis that they have for these things. It leads me to believe that they've never watched highlights, let alone sat down and truly watched game film. The guy is a competitor. The guy is a guy that can play man coverage. And when you got guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase saying that you gave them hell, you gave them problems, what more do we need to hear? That's what we need. We're in a conference to where every team I feel like got a little bit better. And every team has a receiver that we need to respect, right? And we need to have a number one corner to deal with. So we got a guy who can cover a number one down in and down out and compete, which is exactly what we needed. Is he Sauce Gardner? No. But is he a guy with a lot of swag, a lot of moxie, a big body, who's physical, confident, and ready to go out and guard any number one week in and week out? Yes. Overjoyed about it. Hopefully, we can go out there and just watch him compete. It's going to be exciting. Are people going to make some plays? They get $1 million contracts for a reason. But is he going to make some plays? I absolutely think that he is. And just the thought of Cam Sutton going out and being the guy that guards the second best receiver on teams also has me excited. I think Cam Sutton's due for a bounce back half of season. And I say half of season because, and not even half.
Like a
People act,
quarter, a
yeah,
small fraction.
yeah, because people act like he was just trash, man. Again, you said it a few weeks ago. I'll say it again. There was for the first half of this season, we were talking about how you just put Cam Sutton out there and forget that he's out there. So let's not pretend like this dude is just terrible. I know that the most memorable play is the last play a lot of the time. So we know what happened at the end of the season, but this guy's a good football player, and I think he's going to come back and show it.
Yeah, he was going against the best receivers in the NFL. The only receiver he didn't go against the last 5 weeks was Tyreek Hill. Justin Jefferson twice, CD Lamb, Mike Evans, Puka Nakua, Cooper Kupp, like Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, guys who had phenomenal seasons. I mean, the only name missing off that list, in my opinion, is probably Tyreek Hill. So he had his hands full. He was kind of supposed to be the guy last year. I think Cam Sutton sliding over to number two. I think he's going to thrive there. But Carlton Davis, we're going to keep talking about what happened up behind these microphones and some of these press conferences because he went out there and said, I am a lockdown corner. His words, not mine. I take away one side of the football field. Now, when you say that, Detroit Lions fans are going to expect results. They're going to expect that game in and game out. Listen, you're going up against Justin Jefferson twice at a minimum. You're going against the Chicago Bears, who just added Keenan Allen. They got DJ Moore. Are they still in the market for Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft? I don't know, but we got some receivers in this draft. That's what people are going to be expecting now. Once he said that, that's kind of like, man, I think he's very, very good. I think he's a stud. I think he's arguably one of my favorite signings, acquisitions, whatever you want to call it this offseason. But those were some big words, and they're going to be big shoes to fill.
My question is, what was the expectation for him to be like?
No, I get it. Got it. Hey,
here?
I love the mentality. I love what he said. I'm just, hey, you know how Lions fans are, Will. You've read some of the comments on our shows. That's just what they're going to be expecting.
I mean, I expect what I see on film. Nothing more, nothing less. I see a guy that's going to compete in the store. That's it. Just come in every week, compete. Like I said, the other teams are going to make some plays. Hopefully we finish on the top end of that. But just go out there, compete, make it tough on those guys, and I'll be happy. The biggest thing that kind of frustrated me with Cam Sutton at the end of the season is the fact that he was out there playing banged up and just kind of stumbling around. But we didn't have anybody else to go to. Heck, we had kick returners out there playing corners. So
special teamers, man. We were thin.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, he was a guy who did what he needed to do to stay out there and compete. I appreciate the guy for what he did, and I'm excited. And I think there's even weeks to where his skill set might meet what we need for a team's number one option. But I mean, yet to be seen. But I think it's going to be more of a scheme thing, man. We got a secondary, and we got a GM and a defensive coordinator that talks about positionless football all the time. I think it's going to be styles make fights, as they say. As guys match up, we're going to match up accordingly.
Yeah, I think our secondary is already improved right there just with Carlton Davis. But Detroit Lions also go out. We get Amik Robertson, sure up the secondary, played outside corner for the Raiders last year. Not a name we were familiar with. Me, I'm speaking for myself. I don't know how familiar you were with him before he became a Lion. But I had to do some digging. I had to do some research. I like everything I see. I like everything I hear. I think he's going to be a nice depth piece. I think he can kind of shuffle around a little bit. But how do you feel about Amik Robertson?
Versatile. Another guy that's versatile. He can come in and play outside. He can come in and play slot. He can come in and be the nickel guy. He's just he's depth. He's another option. The whole thing allows us to take risks like the risks that we're taking again with Emmanuel Mosley. I'm excited for the whole thing. We need depth, man. Just like we saw last year. People get banged up. You can never predict, who's going to be down where. And knowing that we don't necessarily have to worry about if one guy gets banged up, it makes me feel good. It gives me a warm and fuzzy.
If he moves and plays some nickel, what do you think happens with Brian Branch? Is he someone like we put a safety in the box for the run, covering some tight ends? What do you think his role would be if Amik gets some nickel reps?
I think his schemes, it depends on the week, man. Depends on the week and depends on what we need to do. But I think we need to make sure that we remember that Brian Branch is probably going to take CJ Gardner-Johnson's role that he was expected to have. Like we weren't planning on having Brian Branch. Nobody in the world knew that Brian Branch was still going to be on the table. That was just like us taking best player available. They couldn't pass on Brian Branch when Brian Branch in the second round. Are you
Fell
crazy?
right into our laps.
Yeah. So I mean, that was just a situation to where we probably, if we don't have Brian Branch, we probably re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson. We probably pay him. So Brian Branch is going to be playing that safety role, and I think that the two don't even really necessarily flow into each other.
Yeah, I want Brian Branch. I know one thing. I want him on the field as much as possible.
He'll be on the field.
He's just a heat-seeking missile. Always around the ball. Can take away tight ends. I mean, I watched his game against the Falcons. That was his best game as a pro, man. And everyone was talking about Bijan Robinson, how he was going to torch us that week. Buddy, he went out there and just said, listen, Bijan's not even going to be the talk of the town once I'm done here.
And I love how he just gets to his business, man. He sticks his little mouthpiece in the top of his helmet and goes and plays football. That's it, man. You're not gonna see him tweeting. You're not gonna see him talking crazy. You're just gonna see him playing tough, man.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, huh?
That's it.
And I'm all out of bubble gum.
It's about what it is, man.
All right, let's get into the big one. We've already talked about him. We've posted a whole episode dedicated to just DJ Reader. If you guys want to tag that, I'll tag that at the end of this video. We're not going to do a 10-minute spiel on him, but DJ Reader, A+ signing. How do you feel?
You know how I feel.
Love it.
DJ Reader. When you're talking about violence and you're talking about the comment of violence, in his press conference, I felt like it was more definitive. He said exactly what he is and exactly what he's going to be. He's going to be a guy that comes out and plays physical. He's going to be a guy that mentors, other guys on his team. He's going to be a team guy, and he's going to come out and do whatever he needs to do to help this team be successful. Exactly what we need. It's to me, it's sexy, right? Because it's something that I wanted real bad. I think when we talk about what we were looking for this offseason, coming out with a physical, nasty defense that we don't have to wake up worrying about or saying, hey man, if this defense holds, we're going to have a good game today. No, we're getting to a point. I'm not going to say we're there yet, but we're getting to a point where we may wake up on a Sunday and say, we're about to jack somebody up. Who is it? Who's coming to town? And I think that we've set ourselves up to go pretty much any direction that we want in the draft and any direction that the draft flows to us. So if this draft flows to where best player available is one of those big time receivers, we're in a position where we can take one. If we're in a position where one of those edge rushers, big time edge rushers, Chop Robinson or one of those guys falls to us, we're in a position where we can take them. We can take best player available. We can get our guard when it's time, when that guard shows, so we don't have to rush to do anything in this draft now at free agency. So at the end of the day, I think we had a Brad Holmes free agency, one that people are going to question, especially novice people and especially people that don't know him. You'll see people giving him a C. You'll see people talking about he shopped on $1 menu and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it is a free agency that has the potential to be an absolute home run. And that's all I ask for. I'm going to come back on here if this whole thing goes to shambles and still say I was happy because he took risks that made sense. He did things that made sense. Benito Jones is gone. We signed DJ Reader.
Huge upgrade. Massive
upgrade. Kendall Vildor is gone. Yeah. We went and got Robertson. Upgrade, right? We needed a number one corner, people say, right? I say we needed an additional serviceable starting corner. We went and got Carlton Davis. What are we talking about? Like, we took care of business, right? With Marcus Davenport, we talk about needing an edge rush. We went and got a first rounder. We went and got a 4 or 5 guy that's 6'5", 260, 270. The upside is just through the roof. So, and we haven't even made it to the draft yet. Does this whole thing pan out? I have no idea.
We'll know sometime around December.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know, man. I think that it was a home run. And there's still pieces that we can add to it. Like I said, Stephon Gilmore's of the world are still out there for 1-year deals. Mike Williams is out there, man. And again, Mike Williams isn't somebody that I want to sit up here and pay a ton of money. But if you're talking about a world where Josh Reynolds was supposed to be a $7 million man and you can get a Mike Williams for $10 million, I'm going to pay the extra $3 million. I'm going to go into this draft with my ex-receiver. I'm going to draft an edge rusher, and then I'm going to go get my guard in round 2, and I'm going to go win the Super Bowl next year.
I think I saw something that Mike Williams was visiting Carolina, and I think he has interest from the Chiefs. But yeah, he's still available. But I feel like if a player is visiting, kind of like we had with DJ Reader, if you're visiting with the Panthers, they're not going to want you out of the building. They're going to figure out a way to sign you. But who knows? I mean, crazier shit in the world has happened. So I don't know. But I did see that on Twitter somewhere that he had a visit with the Panthers. The Jets are interested. So he's getting some interest. So, I mean, the Lions, not to say we couldn't swoop in there and snag him up, but just talking about DJ Reader. So what I did today, I watched the All-22 on him. I watched All-22 DJ Reader. I usually we don't ever, give shout outs to other channels. We really don't. But I will tell you, go check out the All-22. I might even put it in the description on this video. It breaks down DJ Reader. About 20 plays from this past season and a couple seasons in the past. Man, what he does in the run game is just, I think it's second to none. I think against the run, he's probably the number one defensive tackle. We're talking about what's the offense's job? It's to execute. Defense's job is to disrupt. Nobody does that better than TJ Reader. He knows where these linemen are going to go. He beats them to their spots. He disrupts.
I think you might be getting out of hand right now.
No, I don't think I am. Call it a hot take. Against the run, a better D tackle than DJ Reader. I'll wait.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. But I will say he's one of those. You're not gonna move him around. You're not gonna move him around. Now, is he a guy that's going to at the snap of the ball be in your backfield? Not necessarily. Is he quick? Is he explosive? Yeah, but he's just a immovable force, right? He's going to command a double team, and if we're just talking about people running directly at him, he's definitely in the top of the NFL. But I'm not going to say he's number one.
Yeah, and I also liked his interview. We talked about that mentor role. He talked about Broderick Martin, and his exact words were, "I can't wait to get my hands on that young guy. I can't wait to start grooming him." I had that same thing. We kind of hinted at it with what he had with Vince Wilfork back when he was drafted in Houston. Same thing. Like, he wants to get his hands on Broderick Martin, help him grow his game. I've been very hard on Broderick Martin. I think it's fair criticism. I need to see you on the field. You were a third-round pick. I feel like you're a third-round pick. You could be potentially starting. So I'm looking forward to Broderick Martin this year. When I go to practices and preseason games, my eyes are locked on Broderick Martin, probably no one else. I want to see what's going on. I want to see him at least playing. I think that's already a step up. So hearing him say that about him, getting his hands on him, grooming him, taking him under his wing, I'm excited. Same thing with Lee McNeil. He was talking about how they had that Carolina connection because that's where DJ's from, Carolina. Picking his brain, finding out what he likes to do at defensive tackle position, what he doesn't like to do, how they can kind of, take that each other's roles and kind of groom it into becoming a fierce tandem at D tackle. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm just not in a rush for him, man. I feel like they were honest about it. It'd be one thing if they were like, "Hey, Broderick Martin is somebody that we're looking for to contribute immediately." Then I would be like, "Okay, this dude needs to get on the field. Like, what the heck?" But I feel like they were honest. They said, "Hey, this dude is raw." Right? I remember Aaron Glenn saying, "He's raw, man. He's raw. Like, he's gonna have to learn how to play the game." Like, and that kind of prepped me for exactly what it was, man, and exactly what it is. He's a guy that's gonna have to learn how to play this game. He was bigger and stronger than most everybody he played against, and he used that to will his way to making plays. Now everybody's big and everybody's strong. So now he's going to have to learn to be quick, play with leverage, and play some smart football. And I think that getting guys like this, similar body styles and guys who are willing and highly motivated to, help him come to bring his game to a peak levels, I think he'll be just fine.
All right. I got to ask you a question. I know you don't like doing this stuff. I know it's not your cup of tea. It's like when we do our game day episodes and I ask you for a score prediction.
Yep.
Give this a grade. Give these transactions, these acquisitions a grade.
I give it a B, man. Solid B. And that's just because I reserve A's for CJ Gardner-Johnson signings. And not that CJ Gardner-Johnson panned out to be anything super crazy. It didn't really truly work out. And this is a prime example of I'm not basing the result of what happened, but I'm basing the actions that our GM took. He called every day. He continued to poke and prod and check in and was at the right place at the right time, calling at the right time for something that wasn't even on the table of on anybody's radar. And he went and got probably the best safety available in free agency last year, right? Because he did that. So for those situations, if we would have signed one of these bigger name guys to a huge deal, I would have, or not necessarily a huge deal, but just got him on our team, then I would, to me, those are what I reserve the A's for. But we got solid dudes. We got a dude that both of us really wanted in DJ Reader, and we got our team better. So I give it a solid B, strong B. You
stole my grade. So I'm not going to steal your grade. So I'm either a B plus or a B minus. I'm going to go B minus just because my only question mark on these acquisitions, I love Graham Glasgow. I love Carlton Davis. I love Amik Robertson, DJ Reader, absolute home run. I just have questions about Marcus Davenport. That's it. End of list. I've said it before. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to produce? If those are both yeses, look out. League's over. Thoughts and prayers. But I think we just need a little bit of insurance, just a little bit of insurance in the draft, or maybe a trade. We're going to talk about some stuff later today, so I don't want to fully spill the beans, but I just want to shore up that defensive end spot. I want to make it solid, because someone brought up a good point. I don't remember if it was in the comments or if I saw it on Twitter. I can't remember. I'd like to give you a shout out, but it kind of made me a little nervous. Like, if Aiden Hutchinson tweaks a hamstring, we're really getting thin at defensive end. So I don't want to fall into that same situation like we were with corner. I just want some insurance. So I say B-.
I completely disagree. Like, if Aiden Hutchinson tweaks something, I don't think that we're thin. We still got Pascal. We still got Kaminsky. We still got Davenport, right? We got the little mini guy that we got from Canada. Now, are these going to be game?
Started on him.
Are these guys that are going to be game wreckers? No, they're not. But what teams have game wreckers on their reserves? I can only think of one, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. So most teams aren't going to have game wreckers on their bench. It's not normal. So I think we have serviceable guys that can come in and contribute on our bench, and we're going to go get a end in the draft. Let's be real. So I'm starting to believe that Darius Robinson is going to end up on our team. He's not even a favorite for me. But,
me neither.
But
no, I'm just saying, if Hutch gets hurt, there's a huge drop-off between him and Pascal. A huge drop-off between Aiden Hutchinson and John Kaminsky. Like, a monumental drop-off. That's all I'm saying, is I just want to shore that up. Get me someone in the draft somewhere in the first 3 rounds, and I'm happy. There's a lot of guys out there we both like. We do a lot of draft shows, a lot of stuff. I just want to have a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. And Marcus Davenport doesn't do it for me, but it's not risky. If he doesn't work out from a team standpoint, it's not bad, but just from a defensive end positional standpoint, question mark.
We're always going to have a huge drop off, man. Like, every team in the league is going to have a huge drop off if their number one end goes out. You know what I mean? Like,
most teams in the league aren't already sitting in the 23rd ranked defensive spot. So,
I mean, I get it, but I don't think that that's necessarily a Aiden Hutchinson thing. I think that's a pure defensive line thing.
I mean, look what happened with the Steelers last year. They lost TJ Watt for a couple games. They just kept on chugging. Were they the same Steelers? No, they had some bumps and bruises, but TJ Watt's a game changer. They lost him for a little while, and their defense still played very, very well. I want to just have that just in case. I just want that little insurance. That's all I'm saying. Just in case some shit happens.
Fair enough.
So, guys, William here says B. I say B-. I think we're set the table very nicely, though. Like we said, we don't just hand out A's.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't just show up to class and expect to get an A. Like, it was a very, very good free agency period. So maybe our grade doesn't reflect that, but I have some question marks. We didn't really sign a monster free agent, like Will said. So it's kind of hard to get that A grade. We're fair. You show up here, you got to put your work in. That's all we're saying. Draft's coming up. It's going to be a monster draft. I think we have some nice luxuries. We don't have any glaring needs. O-line, maybe a backup corner, defensive end somewhere in there, and I'm happy. I don't care where it is. So leave some comments down below. Hit that like button. If you're new here, stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with some more content.
Peace.